Hi guys, Craig Rivers here from Rivers and Outdoors. Today, what I'm going to do is show you how to make the simplest box trap you can make. I used to make these when I was a kid. They're pretty easy. I found one in my barn at the ranch that we were living at. I wasn't sure really what it was, and I kept looking at it, and then finally I figured it out. Then I started making my own. The thing is I'm going to be a little bit careful today because I keep talking about things I did when I was a kid and how easy they were. Well, now that I'm older, they're not always so easy. So anyway, the tools you will need are a hammer, a pair of tin snips, which you could use a big pair of scissors if you have them, and a wood chisel, and a saw. Okay, so a hammer, big pair of scissors, a wood chisel, and a saw. And the supplies you need are just some sticks, old scrap trim sticks or whatever stick you can find. And I have redwood fence boards. That's what I'm using. And so you just gotta cut, what you gotta do is cut 3 of them even and one a little shorter. And the one that's shorter is for your slide on the end. So the slide can go up and down and has clearance. So your top piece, what you'll do is you'll lay it on there, and then you'll take a piece and space it. I don't know if you can see this. Space it from the end. Give yourself some clearance, like maybe 1/8 of an inch more. It could be a little sloppy, 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch. And then you make a mark and you cut it off. And what that does is that gives you access for the slide. Now on the other side, here's where you'll use the wood chisel. In my case, I pre-cut everything here because I didn't want to mess around cutting stuff. So I used a hole saw, but you can cut this, make it a square hole, use a wood chisel. It's fairly easy. So that's why you need a wood chisel. Again, wood chisel, handsaw, hammer, and a big pair of scissors. So basically, this piece is one thickness of a board shorter than the other 3. They're all the same length, and it don't matter what length they are. They could be 4 inches longer than this, and it isn't going to hurt a darn thing. Get out of here, goat. Go on. So this is the top. This is what the top looks like. And it's got the hole, and it's one thickness shorter. So then, what you got to do is you got to find yourself a little bit heavier piece and cut a notch with that. And you can do that with a handsaw, and you don't really have to. You can just put your pivot point in here and offset it. So basically what's going to happen is this is going to be hooked on top of the lid. Then there's going to be a little nail in here, and this is going to be the rocker. And that's what that's going to do. And so I think what we'll do is we'll start putting this together, and once it's all together, you'll see kind of how the whole thing works. The other thing is you need a yardstick at least, or a tape measure or something. So you want to take the hole and the end of the board and divide it by 2. So it's about 20 inches. So we'll go about 10 inches. Go right there. And then before we put our pivot post on, we're going to take our rocker, we're going to divide that by 2, And that's going to be 21.5, so about 10 1/4. 10 1/4, about right there. You know, I don't even really remember when I was making these when I was younger. I don't remember being that precise. So then you want to just pound the nail in. Probably wouldn't hurt to pre-drill these, but I'm trying to get by here with the easiest. So I'm taking this, actually, let's move this over so you can see it. Then I'm putting my pivot in there. You don't want to pound it in all the way to where it's tight. You want that to rock like that. And then you just want to... Okay, so then on the spot where you marked it in the middle, in between here and here, you want to take this and you don't have to, but and I lost my pencil. Okay. What you want to do, my rocker should have been a little bit longer, but that's all right. Make it work. So what you want to do is pound a couple of nails in there. So I got a couple nails pounded in. I'm going to take this thing, fold it, get them, kind of have them started. Make sure it's straight-ish. Yeah, so that's kind of how that works. Put my other nail in. Now, I do remember, I got that a little bit off. Just going to try to get by with that. Okay, now, so the other thing I have is, I actually cheated and have some little horseshoe nails, but basically what you want to do is just pound a little nail in the end here and make a loop, or you could drill a hole in it. Same thing on this end. And I probably should have done that first. But you pound it in, and you take a pair of needle nose pliers or something, or I don't know, somehow you can figure out how to bend it. Any pair of janky pliers, so that's another tool I had forgotten. If you're one of these guys that carries around a Leatherman, and you know, with the needle nose on there, that's perfect for this project. You can even use the little saw for cutting these things and making cuts and whatnot. So. Yeah, the object here is to get by with next to nothing. You know, if you're out at an old cabin and you need to survive and you're scrounging around, if you can find a hammer and a saw, you're doing good. So anyway, I am going to pound. I'm going to cheat. Pound No, I don't think I am. I'm going to go back to the nails. Hopefully I can do this without splitting it. So this is something I should have done first. Yeah, that'll work. And that actually gets me more over the hole, so that's good. All right. So this side, do is figure out a way to do it without screwing my nail up. You know, I bet you, I just smashed my finger. I bet you if you looked around, you could find stuff how to do, you know, things on how to do this. Okay, so now we're gonna put it together. So on two of the sides, again, like we cut the edge of this board here off so that our slider would go in and out. If you look at that, that's way in the wrong spot. I may have to take it apart here and move it, or just unnail it and move it. So anyway, now we want to take two of these. Here, let's get this out of the way. Two of these, and then we want to put, you know, again, you know, we want to put our little pieces of wood here at about 1/8 in. They don't have to be perfect. So actually, I got some different nails here. Okay, so you can see what that does. This is going to slide here. So we want to do that on two of them. Don't want to do is have that tight because it'll hang up. And that might be. Remember, I had one that was hanging up when I was younger, and what I did is I took a bar of soap and basically I rub the wood down with soap and got it so it's moved good. There we go. And then we got, so basically now what we do is we take and nail the bottom on. And then we nail the top on. It's important on your slider end to get everything even. The other end isn't so important. And I've thought about these and always thought of other ways I could make improvements and make them better. There's a ton of things you could do. But the object here is to just get by the simplest, cheapest survival thing or ranch thing for catching rodents, rabbits, small critters, rats, ground squirrels. We have our share of ground squirrels around here. Okay, now before I put the lid on, I'm going to adjust this, change that. Let's see if this, I got to figure this out here. There. Just didn't quite make this long enough. Tweak. Right there. Right there. So right there. What I did here is I moved my rocker stick over because I didn't have it quite lined up where it needed to be, but it's all right. Got to make some adjustments sometimes. Oop, nail came out. Put another nail in there. And you could put a screw that in there if you had to. So the hole goes to the opposite end of where your slider is. And the top of this slider, you can see there's a notch here. And that's got to be that width, so that it'll clear this slider board. Uh-oh, I made that slider board too wide. I was planning on nailing it the other way. That's all right. I'll go cut it down or split it down or something. That one came through. Oh well. about these is if they fall apart, you just nail them back together. I mean, it ain't a big deal. All right, so I made a mistake. I was thinking that I was going to nail these to the side of this, sides to the side. So I cut my board, and I cut it too wide. What we got to do is go trim my board off, and yeah. Okay, so I cut my slider down. See how that's going to work. And I was thinking about this pivot point here. And I remembered back that the one I found in the barn had straps of leather on each end. And they just had a nail in there and a nail in here. And of course I grabbed some wire because I couldn't remember what the hell I did. But yeah. Okay. So I think this is gonna work good. That's a little bit goofy. Don't quite line up where I want it, but it's all right. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so there's basically 4 little pieces of wood. And these 2 are the outside of the runners. Put them on the outside. Hopefully they don't split. And you can use scrap wood. Now these you could actually make them out of paint sticks if you didn't have anything else. Yeah, there's some stuff I forgot about. Like I should have extended these little sticks down here to the corner. Can you see that? Down to the little corner here. And then nail them on the bottom because that would help reinforce the bottom. Trying to do, I don't want to spend too much time. I don't want to make an hour-long video. I wanted this to be fairly quick and explanatory, or explain exactly what it is we're doing here, so you don't have to spend a lot of time watching a big old long video just to figure out a simple project. Okay, there's the slider. Basically, yeah, the trick is to get it adjusted right, so it goes down. Right, now, one thing you will need is a tin can lid. And then you just want to cut it kind of like that in half or quarter. Then you nail that over your hole. You see that? I don't know what you guys can see and can't see. So you just nail that on the hole. And what that does is that gives you a nice, crisp trigger catch. Or I believe in a gun they call it a sear, or something to that effect. Okay. And I do know that you sort of want it so that you want it towards the rocker block. Get out of here, goat. And the reason for that is when you make your stick that goes down in here, that hooks on here for your trigger, you want the animal to push it that way to free the trigger, and then it pops up. And the reason for that is that you want them to, you know, if they bump it, or in some cases you could put bend those over in there. So because like with rabbits, I don't know if you can put something on there that you're going to try to eat, I guess, unless you tie a piece of lettuce or something around there, or tie a carrot to the stick. They have to push on it, you know, have to push on it. So if you put a flat plate on there, they can just bump it and they're going to knock it down. So what I use for the end, now this end, you can just put jail bars on here, little pieces of wood. But I like using, wherever it is, where'd it go? Come on! Man, I'm losing everything. I like using a piece of screen because you want them to see through so that they go all the way through. So, can you see the top here? Yeah. So basically, you just, and this is what you need your tin snips for, or a big pair of scissors. And you don't have to use screen, like I said, you could use sticks and just make like jail bars, and they will, you know, as long as they can see through, they will travel to that end of the trap. So, and you just want to nail this on the end, or staple it, or whatever, you know, it don't much matter. So probably right here. Actually, you could do a neater job if you cut little sticks and just nailed them over the end. Oh well. Too late now. Well, it's not too late, I just... These things are perfect for small rabbits. And that's what I have around here, is plenty of small rabbits and plenty of ground squirrels. And occasional big rats. I have some big creek rats sometimes that come up, but it's so dry this year I haven't seen anything. Didn't have nothing to do, you're sitting around the ranch or wherever, you could just cut up a bunch of wood and make about 10 of these things. that's what that looks like that. Last 2 days, making our trigger stick. That's sharp. And hooking up the door. Okay, so this got to be about halfway. So about like that. All right. So what I'm doing here is just putting a little nail in the top. Back here. Better to have a pair of pliers if you got them. Right, now last thing to do is you got to carve a notch on the trigger. Kind of like your L7 concept on you know, traps. You need the L to hook on here. Actually, I'm gonna make it a little lower. Works. Okay. Okay guys, so what I'm doing here is I'm hooking up my trigger and my trap door. In this case I use a little bit of wire, but like I said before, now that I thought back, the one that I had that I found when I was a kid had little straps of leather. So there you go. That's basically it. There is some differences with this one and some of the other ones I made. But this is the trigger. Put your bait on here. Put it down in the hole. The critter can see in this hole here. See all the way through. Smell the bait. And then they bump this stick. There you go. You got yourself an animal. Now you could do some things to fix this up, make it better. Definitely. This is just the crudest, kind of a 12-year-old version for a 12-year-old kid could make, because that's kind of what I used to do. And they work really well. I remember catching rabbits with them, but with the ground squirrels, all you got to do is have something by their hole, or shove this end of it right into the hole, So when the squirrel comes out, he runs right in here. It's just like the spring traps. You can just put them down in there, or rat traps down in there. When the squirrel runs over them, it'll nail them. So this is an easy fix, or an easy build. Anybody could do it. I would take and cut up a whole bunch of wood, and I'd make about 10 of them. Now, if you live out in a rural area, you're off the grid, and you got nothing to do, go put a bunch of these out in the woods and catch some rabbits. Now, the thing about the solid wood is it's harder for the animal to get anything under there to lift the door and pop out. But you could, if you put a long stick up here, put another stick with a little bit of a pivot, so that when the trap door goes past, the stick drops down and holds it down. So there you go, guys. I hope you liked my video. Thank you for watching. Again, my name's Craig Rivers at Rivers End Outdoors. Yeah, please like and subscribe. Put something in the comments. Ask some questions. I'm open for anything. And I hope everybody's doing well out there. And I will see you on the next video. Bye now.